Hello everybody, today we're cleaning up the, well, I was going to say passenger side, but it depends where you are on the wheel. Left hand side of when you're sitting in the car, wheel well, and giving you a bit of a tour of it and doing some secrets of the wheel well, what's in there. So here we are, the wheel arch on the left hand side, looking forward, of the XK8. First thing to note is, my car is 23 years old and she's in pretty good condition considering. So that's the first little observation. Next is, I do have some corrosion to deal with in this little mud trap at the bottom here. Despite it having wheel arch liner in, there'd been a little poultice of mud and dirt that had collected in there. But the wheel arch liner has certainly done a good job in protecting this. Over here we have our fuel lines and vapour lines, and they connect to this back here, which is the canister, the purge canister. And this is basically where the car stores its vapour, its fumes from venting the fuel tank, etc. And in an appropriate moment sucks them back into the engine. It is an area where you can get air leaks and it will affect your performance. This all looks in very good condition. In fact, it looks good enough for it may have been changed. So that's something for me to look at. You can see the back of the repeater lens there, and the fact that it was showing light showed me that's loose, so that needs fixing. You've got the spring seats at the top of the suspension, and sometimes you look at this bit and it's crumbling and flaking away, or that metal plate is touching that metal plate. That's not looking too shabby, so I'm quite pleased with that. If that was gone, then your ride would be harsh and you'd feel vibrations. Spring, all intact. Here we have the top wishbone bushes, a common form of failure on these cars. I've had these actually lock up solid to the extent that because it wouldn't pivot, it broke this arm. So these are something to look after. The fact that there's plenty of copper slip knocking around suggests that they have been done at some stage, and they're certainly not shiny brand new, but probably not a huge worry. The pin that runs through the whole lot can be hard to get out, and again I can see copper slip on it, so that suggests it has been out. Here's where the brake lines enter the vehicle, and a good place for you to check for leaks. Obviously it's all wet at the moment, and this is the front flexi hose protected by this spiral band. And in my mind, one of the reasons that the brakes are a bit dead, dull on the XK8, these are rubber hoses and they need to go. Panning around some more, let's move to light. A lot going on inside the wheel arch of an XK8. So the black corrugated tube is the filler neck for your washer bottle, which runs down into your washer bottle, which is huge and gives you some sort of indication that you're not going to run out of washer fluid very quickly. Mine only has one pump on it, the vertical black item there. That's because I don't have the power wash on the headlights. If I did, the other recess would contain a pump, and that's what this connector is hooked up for, because I don't have that extra pump. There's another loose connector in here. Should actually be clipped up, but it's been taped over. That is normal, but shouldn't really dangle like that. And that's because in the UK we don't have an illuminated side light. So this is the long amber strip in the bumper. It's not required, but that illuminates in the UK, so it's just a reflector and is blanked off. There's no bulb in it, and so the wiring is there to attach the lighting. That should be clipped up. At the front there is the fog light, and at the bottom of the fog light you can see a big nut. That should be a hand wheel. That's to adjust the up and down aim on your fog light. To remove the bulb, you just grab hold of that black connection and rotate it, and on this one it is anti-clockwise, about 1/8 of a turn, and it comes out on a bayonet. That is the rear access to your, let go right, the dipped beam lamp. So your main driving light, you would remove that cap and you can change the bulb through there. Brakes on my car are the smallest fitted, and have quite a ridge on the outside edge. They're smooth, so they're working okay, but these will be subject to an upgrade that I'm going to apply. It looks like I've got nearly new brake pads. Look behind the caliper a little, and you've got your bottom wishbone or control arm, and we have a drop link, if I can focus, here we go, and this drop link joins the anti-roll bar, which is a Jaguar, so it's very substantial. They don't like them rolling, even though we have soft suspension, and the bottom control, and that very often wears and can degrade your handling and can make a little bit of noise. I might have a look at that. To my eye, that bolt looks like it's above centre, which says the rubber is degraded. See down here, little area where the undercoat, the stone chip if you like, has come away from the bodywork. You see the edge of it back there. So I need to do some work on that. You can also see straight through, it's a hollow section. So it's supposed to be open, let the air flow through, let everything breathe and therefore not rot. But this is my major area of concern, which I'm pleased to say is pretty petty. Really good. Before I put this back together, I'm just going to clean up the inner wheel arch, and then that's this corner of the car sorted for today. I'll be back in there soon to do a bit of remedial work on this. I've got a bit of tape around the end of my wheel brace to stop scuffing the paint, and it also reminds me which is the right size. When you're doing up these nuts on these wheels, make sure that you take them up two opposite-ish ones, just far enough that you can give the wheel a good shake, and make sure you genuinely have seated on the nose of the wheel, so you shouldn't get any movement, and the wheel nuts, the other wheel nuts, should spin up with no resistance because the wheel isn't touching them. You get any grief from the other wheel nuts, you should assume you haven't seated it properly. And when they're all down, the last one that you nip up is the locking nut, because you're always trying to put the least possible strain on that one. Right, so he's nipped. Give the others as much as I can do without the wheel being on the ground. There we go. And then drop her down. Don't fall into the trap of doing up your wheel nuts with a great big long lever, because you've got to undo them with whatever's in your boot if you get caught out. So do it with small spanners, undo with bigger spanners.